There's actually multiple components to the talent problem. So one that everyone is eminently aware of today is there's a shortage of data scientists. And so how do you develop data scientists within your own company? Now, there are master's degree programs that people can go to. There are PhD programs that people can go to, and those are very good. And along that lines, if you're not developing net new math, you don't need a PhD to do machine learning or data science, right? A master's degree, someone with a master's degree can execute this. A very experienced person with a bachelor's degree can do this too. And then you have the component of it that besides the skill identification is that, we think of AI we say that AI is not going to replace all jobs, and it's not going to replace all jobs. But there are definitely some skill sets, specifically in the blue-collar jobs, where the number of people you will need will be reduced by AI. That's part of the point, is to optimize processes, which means there's less people. And so at IBM, we started, our CEO, Ginny Rometty, a few years ago, started this new collar jobs initiative in the US, and we're expanding it around the world, where basically we take people who are traditionally from blue-collar jobs and we create apprenticeships for them. In the US, they're certified by the Department of Labor. In the Middle East, we're working with a few of the governments here to do a similar process. It's a 2-year program. It's a combination of online/classroom. We built it with online training primarily, but you can sub out classroom for some of the harder things like stats and linear algebra. But it's combined with real-world practical projects so as we go out with our clients, they'll go with us to the clients to do these projects. So as they learn something like Python or how to build a linear regression, they will do that in the real world and help solidify that in their mind. The next step is, what do we do with our current workforce, right? All companies have tons of people that are really smart, understand the business, which is a key part of executing these projects effectively. How do we retrain them? So we're in the process of taking that same apprentice program and modifying it slightly so that we can build a workforce retraining program. And this program can be used by companies around the world to retrain their workforce while they're working on the job, applying it to new efforts. And we're piloting this inside of IBM, where we're retraining some of our technical sales staff and sales staff to use these new skills and understand these new skills. And then the final piece is also, how do you find data scientists externally to bring in to help you solve your problems today? And I think that can be hard to get the first person. And I think it's, the best way to find people is through your network. As I mentioned to you before we started recording, we hired 50 people in a very short period of time. That was entirely through my network and people that I hired their network. You need to start by defining your program very, very well, having a strategy, and having a metric system, and being able to relate that to your core business values, because data scientists can get a job in 15 minutes, right? And so connecting them to what the outcome of and making them feel passionate about the business is really the trick. So identify what your strategy is, tie that strategy to the top line, what the business talks about publicly, and you'll have a much easier time of finding that first person. Then you can rely on their network to bring it in. Cloud is critical for the adoption of data scientists, and that's for a couple of reasons. So if we look back, 20 years ago, we were using a lot of the same tools, a lot of the same, models that we use today for statistical modeling that we use today for what we call machine learning model. Now there's two fundamental differences between 20 years ago and today. So we have an abundance of labeled data, which is critical for what we think of as machine learning and data science. The second is the compute power is vastly different. So statistical models are static. You develop a model, you predict what's happened up to that, or you describe what's happened to that point. Machine learning models, you then take that model and you let the machine look at the data over time and retrain the model. So that's kind of the machine learning component. I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but that's the fundamental difference. So cloud is critical for that, because you can get access to resources on demand, so you can scale up, scale down. You can get access to the newest technologies without having to update them. And you can leverage these across multiple availability zones, so that if you have a business in the Middle East and you're not allowed to remove the data out of that area, you can let your data be in there But if you also have business in Germany, you can also have another data center there where your data resides for your German citizens. And you don't have to maintain 2 data centers, you use that for the cloud. The Data Science Lab with Smart Dubai is an opportunity for us to help the community in Dubai and the government in Dubai really start applying AI and data science. And this is very similar to what we do around the world. We have what we call data science garages or cognitive garages. We have 2 different flavors. And what these are ways for IBM to bring talent to the table and work either for, in some cases, so the cognitive garages typically is a consulting arrangement where we'll do work for the client. And the data science garages are more like what I described with the data science elite team, where we sit down with the client and work through these use cases. And it's really a way to do 2 things primarily. One is, at least the data science garage, to skill up your talent. They're going to be working with experts who have done this before, so your talent will learn how to do this from them. And the second piece is both help accelerate your journey, right? So it's much easier to bring in third party to do work for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then be done with them than it is to bring people in at the same scale for two or 3 years and then have to let them go, right? And so it's a way for companies and governments, in this case, to accelerate their journey without having to make a commitment to people. You know, many companies are already leveraging the value of it, just probably not at the scale that they would like. And through tools like IBM Cloud Private for Data and Watson Studio, which is our data science platform, that helps automate a lot of the processes. So like I said, it helps automate the operationalizing and deployment of it. We also have something we call AI OpenScale, which builds trust and transparency, so it gives you a level of bias. So is this model biased? And you can define what bias means for your company in your region. And then we also have tools that we're developing for the feature development that'll help automate the feature development. And we have tools today that help automate, that help accelerate the building of the models themselves. So we have something called Cognitive Assist, which will help build the model for you. And then we also have visual modeling tools. And so a combination of all of these things help democratize a little bit the process of data science. Now, IBM and others are working on ways to help automate a lot of this process, leveraging AI to automate the process of AI. So I think in the very near future, you'll see more and more companies doing this at scale because of those tools. Now, that begs the question, are data scientists working themselves out of the job? I don't think so. Technology is advancing so quick that we kind of need to walk through how we're automating stuff and these processes and these tools. So I doubt we'll catch up anytime in the next 10 years and automate everything we think of as data science today.